What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Doc Talk. We've had the Dr. Boothby here of Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Institute in Fort Worth, Texas. Hey, Doc, thanks for joining us today.
Hey guys, good morning. Good to be back on Doc Talk. Always love talking to y'all.
Now, behind the scenes, we were talking about how, going into the playoffs, you want to be peaking, right? You want to be at your best. And for the Cowboys, not only has their play taken a bit of a hit, but they've suffered some injuries, some big time ones, right?
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
and you know some that are going to take, unfortunately, a significant amount of time to get better. We always, if there's going to be injuries, we like to see the ones that we can say are 2 or 3 weeks or 2 to 4 weeks or something like that. But when you start talking about months and multiple months, obviously not the news that we're looking for.
Now, the one that I'm a bit confused on because maybe this person may return is Johnathan Hankins. Jerry Jones came out last week and confirmed that Hankins would miss the regular season with the pectoral strain. It didn't say it was a tear, but I know in medical terms, a strain is technically like a little tear, but not a big
That's it.
tear. And I just kind of want you to explain to Cowboys Nation what the strain is, the difference between the strain and the tear, and also could he return in a 5 week span?
Sure. No, it's a great question, and I think that there's a lot of questions that always come up when people get really specific about what's a strain, what's a tear, what needs to be fixed surgically, what doesn't, those types of things, and so you're exactly right. When we talk about a strain in either a tendon or a muscle or something like that, it's basically microscopic tearing. If we look at it closely enough, and we look down at the cellular level, there's tearing of the fibers, and but it's different than where the attachment point of that tendon or muscle literally gets pulled off where it's supposed to be attached, and there's physical displacement there. So that's where the devils are in the details. In a strain, as it's been described, the overall attachment point is still intact, and we're waiting for the structure, either the muscle or ligament or tendon, to heal itself, basically that microscopic or cellular healing. And in that case, a 5 6 week time frame may very well be possible. Especially with all the extra treatments that these guys get, and kind of all the extra you know stuff that we can do to try and make that heal faster. Now, in incidents, if there is more of a component to it that's literally torn off of the insertion of where it's supposed to go, that's a different story, and that will typically take longer to heal, and potentially could even require surgical intervention. So I think mid-season, the thinking here is, let's wait and see how it goes. If it's kind of on the edge, we use MRI imaging to tell us kind of the degree of the strain. And I think that the thinking here is, hey, let's see how he progresses. Let's see how this thing heals up. There's some wiggle room there, and hopefully, if he was ever able to get back for a playoff run, that would be a possibility.
So this is more of a let's wait and see where he's at in 5 weeks. There's no guarantee of him being available at that point.
That's it. That's it. And we're going to just have to, again, this is where we all wish we had a crystal ball, and right. We wish we could peer into it and kind of see where that specific athlete was going to be in five
Yeah.
weeks. And we just don't. And you kind of, there is an element of wait and see here. And I think the strategy again is, you wouldn't ever jump and automatically say, oh, this guy's got a pec strain and it looks a little more severe, we're just going to go fix it at this stage of the season. Because if you go and you fix it, he's definitely going to be out. He's definitely going to be missing the rest of the season. There's no chance even for a return. Whereas at this point, you're opening the door, and then if it doesn't get better and it continues to bother him, and the decision is made to actually go fix it, well, he'd be able to be back in time, for next year. So I think that's kind of the game plan right now. It's a little bit wait and see, and cross your fingers and do everything possible on the training side, to try and facilitate the healing as much as possible.
Now on the flip side, the offensive side of the ball, the offensive line side of the ball, a guy who 100% would not be available for quite some time is Terence Steele. I call him my cousin, Terence Steele.
That's it.
He tore his ACL and I believe his MCL, and obviously he's out for the rest of the season. Now we've been talking about ACLs since like February.
For
With
sure.
Michael Gallup being, having his ACL injury and him coming back, and we haven't talked about Odell Beckham, but he's dealing with his second ACL injury,
Yep.
and he may be in this building. We'll see what's going on with that. But Terrence Steele, the reason why I wanted to talk to you about this one is, yes, it's an ACL injury. They happen all the time, but we've been dealing with receivers having to come back from ACL injuries. And in my head, I'm sitting here thinking, well, are offensive linemen, or do they come back a bit quicker because they're not, asked to cut and jump and do all these different things? Or, so what's the difference here? First of all, refresh everybody about the ACL, MCL thing. And then what's the
Sure.
difference here in the comeback timetable for a big guy, 6'6", 330, compared to a wide receiver?
Sure. No, all great questions. And again, to delve back just into the ACL, MCL kind of talk, there's four main stabilizing ligaments across our knee that prevent it from going side to side and front to back. And those four main stabilizing ligaments all can get torn and cause injury, and require repair in the right circumstances. The ACL is the main one that prevents the tibia or lower leg bone from sliding forward. And that is, as you mentioned, a super common injury based on how these guys get hit and tackle and twist. On top of that, the MCL is the inner ligament, the medial collateral ligament. And basically, it can, at the same time of an ACL injury, get torn. And many MCL injuries actually do not require us to go fix them surgically.
Hmm.
Obviously, the majority of ACL injuries do, but the majority of MCL injuries actually don't. Now, in this case, with a severe MCL that is literally torn in two, you can, at the same time that you fix the ACL, go and fix the MCL as well. Um, Obviously, as a physician, trying to get these guys back, we're rooting for as little damage to the knee as possible. So it's never great to have multi ligaments involved, a multi ligamentous injury. It would be more straightforward to just have it be a straight ACL. In terms of return, your second question was a great one. It really, as far as timing goes, it's still going to be a matter of months, usually about
Hmm.
6 to 9 months, for the ACL graft to mature and be strong enough, whether it's a big guy on the line or whether it's a wide out, cutting, twisting, turning, super agility guy. Um, Once we get them to that point where they can resume football specific activities, then yes, the training regimen obviously is different. The lifting regimen is different. Trying to get your lineman back is slightly different than your wide receiver. But we've still got to get through that baseline period that the ligament biologically inside the knee joint is healing, and that's the big chunk of time up front.
Yeah, that's a great response there on this, because I was definitely curious, Doc. When you look at a big guy like that, that doesn't have to cut, I would think that he would be able to come back. And so let's just say that it does heal up on a regular basis. There's normally a time period for receivers or skill guys that it takes even more months to kind of get back right. We're seeing it with Michael Gallup. He's still not the
Yep.
same guy, but
Yep.
eventually he'll get back to that guy. Is it? I mean, I know you're not a coach or anything like that, but you are a physician, so you know how these body parts move. Is it something where it's a little bit easier for that particular position, a big guy like a tackle, to get back right quicker than a skill player?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, there's no question that the amount of explosion, the amount of agility it requires from the on the skill player side. I think you can see the difference for longer.
Okay.
Once we get them biologically healed. Now, the inside guys, it's not that those guys don't put significant pressure and rotational forces across their knee. If you think about, what these guys are trying to do when guys are literally trying to take them down, there's a tremendous amount of footwork involved, not just straight line stuff, but rotational and energy that goes left and right in order to block and attack. So I mean, it's not that these big guys don't require a significant amount of kind of training to get back, but I totally agree with you. to the naked eye, I think that you're going to see it more. You're going to see the difference for longer in a skill player when they're trying to create separation
Yeah,
or have that energy boost. Then you're going to see it with an interior lineman.
indeed. Hey, Doc, let them know where they can find you and your wonderful work that you do here.
Yeah, I would love to. So we're the Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Institute. We've got offices in Fort Worth, in Mansfield, and Decatur. And would love to help anybody out with some of those dings and things that have been bothering with them from extremity stuff. So you can always hit us up online and find us on the web at osmifw.com. And you can also give us a call, 817 529 1900.
Appreciate your time, Doc.
Sounds good, guys. Have a great day.